Today on Growing Bolder, meet John Rivers, a restaurateur who is lifting up his community by making fresh, healthy meals available to those who can't afford them. And food as medicine. Find out how certain dietary choices can actually prevent deadly disease.
A surprise that I found, for example, is that purple potatoes kill colon cancer stem cells. Like, we can't even do that in pharmaceuticals, but we can do it using purple potatoes. It's pretty amazing.
Plus, the story of a family-owned fruit stand that has been changing lives for decades, one meal at a time. That's all coming your way right now on Growing Bolder. We're not made to withdraw from life. We're made to seize each moment and to value every breath. We're made to be bold, to take risks, and to help others. We are the most creative, fearless, passionate being that has ever walked the face of the earth. Don't identify with limitation. Embrace possibility. This is not the beginning of the end. This is the beginning of what's next. This is Growing Bolder.
Support for Growing Bolder provided by
A financial plan should help grow and protect your money. An annuity can help cover essential expenses in retirement. You can find a financial professional to show you how at protectedincome.org.
Hello and welcome to Growing Bolder. I'm Mark Middleton. Of course, you've heard the expression, you are what you eat. Unfortunately, that translates into hunger and poor health for a growing number of Americans. Nearly 50 million are now food insecure, meaning they don't have enough money to buy healthy foods or they have to skip meals altogether. 1 in 6 children and 1 in 6 seniors go to bed hungry every night, and that has devastating health consequences because good food is fuel for our bodies, because good food is medicine. It not only can help prevent serious illness, it can help treat it. John Rivers is a successful restaurateur and a man of deep faith whose favorite Bible verse is from Genesis. Then God said, I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth and every tree that has fruit with seed in it. They will be yours for food. Rivers is now on a crusade to bring that verse to life. He's using it as a blueprint for an ambitious new initiative to educate young people about nutrition, to localize the food chain, and to create a system to make fresh produce and healthy meals available to those who can't afford it. John Rivers is a man with a mission and a ministry, both driven by a passion for barbecue and for helping others. Rivers spent 2 decades perfecting his own recipes and techniques. In 2004, the former healthcare executive began a self-described barbecue ministry in his garage, cooking brisket to raise money to help those in need. In 2009, he renovated an old transmission shop and opened his first 4 Rivers Smokehouse. Today, there are over 24 Rivers locations offering what has been named the best barbecue in the South. But when the pandemic hit, Rivers' restaurant empire was shut down overnight.
We lost 50% of our business. All of our catering commissaries, all of our trucks, everything was dark. We had to turn them all off. And instead of sitting there recognizing that we're in trouble as an organization, we went to work. We went to work to fix the business, but we also went to work recognizing there's other people out there that need help.
With restaurants closed, millions of pounds of produce began rotting in the fields. At the same time, classrooms shut down, and children that relied on school lunches no longer had that daily meal. When many of their parents lost jobs, the inevitable result was a rapid rise in food insecurity. Children and families were going to bed hungry. That's when Rivers' nonprofit 4R Foundation went to work.
You call it harvesting, but we called it rescuing. We had trucks going out all over the state, finding that produce. And if the farmer could give it to us, great, but if they needed a little bit of money to harvest it, we would fund that for them. So we were taking produce that was otherwise going to go to waste, We were bringing it to Central Florida. We ended up recreating 322 jobs of people to take that produce and to turn it into meals and then go out to those 46 sites all over the state and feed people on a weekly basis. We called it Feed the Need, and it's still going on today. And we are now approaching 1.7 million meals that we have distributed in just a little over a year.
While helping to fill an immediate need, Rivers became obsessed with the massive inefficiencies in our food production and distribution system.
We don't have a problem of a shortage of food. That's not the country's problem. We have an issue with connecting that grower and where it's grown from to the end user. And how do we take out pieces and steps along the way? Our produce today that we eat, on average in the United States, has traveled 1,872 miles to get to our plate.
And with every mile, the taste and nutritional value declines while the cost to the planet and the consumer rises. That problem led to Rivers' latest philanthropic passion, the 40-acre, $40 million Four Roots campus. Now under construction in Orlando, the campus is designed to inspire revolutionary change in Florida's food system through education on sustainable farming, agriculture technology, and research in culinary medicine.
We're teaching not just students, but we're also teaching parents and community, and we're teaching farmers, and we're teaching healthcare providers.
Four Roots campus will include an educational center with classrooms, a farm-to-table restaurant, and a working farm whose entire yield will be donated to local schools and food-insecure families in the surrounding community.
I had a period in my life when I lived in food insecurity, and I know what some of those families are going through. And when they say it could be any one of us, it's the truth. It's just, every one of us needs help at some point in our life. And the more that we can lift up those who need it the most in our community, the whole community itself betters.
Transforming the entire food industry to the benefit of all is a nearly impossible task, and that's fine with Rivers.
If your dream doesn't require a miracle, you're not dreaming big enough. And I believe that. Why wouldn't you tackle the world? Take the biggest mountain on. That's a thrill. It gives purpose when you have passion about something. And the thing I have learned is when that opportunity presents itself is to say yes. You don't have to know all the details. You don't have to know how it's going to work out. And quite honestly, I think that's where the blessing lies. Had we, or would we know the challenges we would face in order to accomplish that? Most of us, including myself, would have probably cowered and never taken that first step. That's where the blessing lies. Just say yes.
As you look ahead from where you sit now, are you optimistic about aging? Do you feel good about growing older?
100%. And so much of that reason is a peace that comes with this season in our life when it's no longer about fame or title or money. It's truly about purpose and family. Those are good things to focus on in life. Some of the greatest lessons that I've learned in my life is the impact you can make in people's lives just by your words. Just by your encouragement that you give them or the time that you pour into them. I've had a challenge that I write down and I keep it in front of me often. Everybody that I meet today, can I add to their life? Can I lift their spirits in one way or another?
Put a big check mark next to my name when you sit down tonight and evaluate that. John Rivers, the man on a mission driven by a ministry. Where others see difficulty, he sees opportunity.
It's thrilling. I absolutely love it. When things are normal and quiet, I don't do well. Quite frankly, 2020, I came to life because within disruption, there's opportunity to create and to reach out. Feed the Need wouldn't have existed without COVID coming into place.
With so many going to bed hungry every night, Rivers is appalled by the fact that 30% of the nation's food supply goes to waste each year. He's now committed to doing something about it. His Four Roots Foundation is a model that every community could copy.
Look, you all probably get that the way you eat has a critical effect on your health, right? Well, take what you thought and multiply it more times than you ever would have expected. You're about to hear from Dr. William Li, an internationally renowned physician, scientist, and author of Eat to Beat Disease, who says we need to totally change the way we approach our health and our food.
We spend way too much time treating disease, the horse out of the barn, rather than preventing them. And number two, if you want to prevent disease, you can't really use medicines, and there's no better approach than using food. One of the things that I wrote about in my book is how we tested cancer drugs and anti-inflammatory drugs and statins. And then we threw foods in the same system, and lo and behold, in many cases, the foods went head to head, and in some cases beat the drugs themselves. My approach is not about cutting foods out of your diet, which I think there's plenty of books to do that. I wanted to actually say, how do we lean into our diet to find the foods that we already love and appreciate what Mother Nature has loaded into her, her chamber as bullets against disease or as fuel for health. And a surprise that I found, for example, is that purple potatoes kill colon cancer stem cells. Like, we can't even do that in pharmaceuticals, but we can do it using purple potatoes. It's pretty amazing. We need to actually open our minds to the idea that Mother Nature has created this bounty for us to explore. And if we look at healthy foods as a joy, as something that we can't wait to go out and explore and bring it back and turn it into something delicious for ourselves and our families, I think that we'll be able to actually create a new culture of eating that's closer to the culture where the healthiest populations around the world actually live.
Well, his point is so important. The time to start taking care of yourself is now. Food's not only medicine, he believes it's the most powerful preventative that we have. Instead of waiting until we get diagnosed with something and then fighting it, Dr. Li says by eating with intent, we can go a long way to avoid having problems in the first place. Well, not only can food keep you healthy, in some cases it can even help you make a living. Here's someone who's living a pretty interesting life and has quite a story to tell, simply off the fruits and vegetables of the land.
In Homestead, Florida, just outside of Everglades National Park, is a fruit stand that somehow has become a tourist destination. And it's not just for the big, bright sunflowers. It's not just for the one-of-a-kind milkshakes, which, by the way, come in 32 exotic tropical fruit flavors. And it's not even just the animals, the goats and the ducks and the tortoises that you can hang with out back. People come because it's a relic, a trip back in time to a simpler, friendlier place. And they also come because, as the sign says, Robert is here, as he has been for an astonishing 62 years.
I tell people I never grew up and left, and I'm still a kid. I still haven't grown up.
Robert Melling has never had to go far to get to work. He sells his fruit right alongside the family farm, just as he's done since he was 6 years old, when his father, who struggled to sell cucumbers, thought maybe a cute kid like Robert just might draw some business. So one day he
put his little fat 6-year-old son on the corner, right close to where that A-frame sign is on the other side of the sunflowers. I was right close to the road, and I sat there all day long. It was the second Saturday of November, 1959.
Nobody stopped, not one customer. But the next day, his father added a sign that says, Robert is here. For whatever reason, it did the trick. In just a couple of hours, Robert sold out. The 6-year-old loved it, and it wasn't long before the little salesman captured the hearts and the business of everyone around. By the time he was a teenager, Robert was a savvy businessman, profiting from a farmer next door.
I was doing about $50,000 a year buying avocados from him and selling them to a couple little grocery stores in town. And, here I'm a senior in high school, but I'm already in business. I know what I'm doing.
Not only does Robert know what he's doing, he's still doing it. After 62 years, he still can sell.
This is a deal that makes my place probably a game breaker from most people's when you go shopping. This is an unusual sight right here. We grow guanabana, but not usually this big. They're usually like those over there or these over here. This is the most magnificent piece of fruit, taste-wise, that any other fruit is. It's just incredible.
It's one of the reasons he draws so many customers. Melling carries fruits you just won't find at most supermarkets.
We got the lychees in season now. They come in season just a couple weeks out of the year, and they're just magnificent. Break the skin. And this particular variety is the best lychee of all. You squeeze the bottom and you catch the fruit. There is a seed in there. It's a tiny seed. Well, they usually have a great big seed and it takes up all the room for the fruit. Yeah, that's a tiny little seed. Mame is like a flan or a cheesecake, or a real rich, fruity tasting pumpkin pie. You'll see a mango or two here. Mango is my favorite fruit, even though this is the best tasting fruit. But I just love to eat mangoes.
Over 6 decades, Melling has learned a lot about fruit, but there's something more important that we can learn from him. It's what he believes is the key to success, not just in the fruit business, but any business, even life itself. He says it all boils down to 3 very important things.
Honesty, integrity, and hard work. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care what you've got going on. If you're a businessman, if you're just someone getting married, if you use that philosophy in your marriage or with a friendship, honesty, integrity, and hard work. You can be honest every day. You can say what you're going to do and have the integrity to do it, and you can work hard the very first day of your work. But if you can ever get to own your own store, own your own place, whatever you work for your whole life will have value at the end of your life when you die and your kids got it, or you can sell it and add more value to whatever you did, you know, because if you own your own farm, you own your own barbershop, own your own garbage truck, that's the 3+.
Honesty, integrity, and hard work. And there's one other thing that's helped. He believes just being around for 62 years has given him the wisdom to make his stand better and better, despite all kinds of competition.
A lot of these new places are absolutely gorgeous and they're fun, but they're different fun than what we have, you know, and that's okay. You know, everybody has to have their niche. And I guess we just grew into our niche just by growing old. Yeah.
Quite a guy and quite a story. And did you get what he said were the secrets to success? It seems like no matter what path in life you choose, it almost always comes down to 3 qualities: honesty, integrity, and hard work. Well, Mark is back now with the story of a man who used those same qualities to live a long and fruitful life.
Bill, the cool thing about active centenarians is that they are wildly diverse. But if you want to meet a single person who embodies all of the keys to active longevity, you're in luck. Rogelio Munoz passed away at the age of 106. We visited him when he was a young man of 101. He still drove, he still traveled, and he was still fascinated with the world. And yes, diet and nutrition were a big part of his life, every day from the moment that he got up. Rogelio Munoz starts every day exactly the same.
In the morning, I have a shake, and the shake is made of walnuts, soy milk, and fruits. I put in my shake about 6 or 8 fruits every day. I put some liquid and have it in the morning, and that gives me strength for all the day.
Rogelio became a vegetarian when he was in his 60s. That was 40 years ago. Rogelio Munoz is a centenarian.
People that are vegetarian live from 7 to 10 years longer than the rest of the population. This is scientific. So I am one of the privileged.
It's not just his diet that's key to his longevity. Rogelio rides his stationary bike 3 to 6 miles every day, and he likes to take brisk walks. Especially amazing considering he had a complete knee replacement at the age of 92. There's not a lot of doctors that will replace a joint in a 92-year-old man.
He said, no, you can have it. At your age, it is impossible.
But Dr. Hugh Morris was impressed with Rogelio, his attitude, and his overall fitness level.
He is extremely healthy for 92 and intended to continue being healthy. And after a thorough evaluation and determined he was an excellent candidate for a knee replacement, he requested and had that procedure done.
3 months later, Rogelio went to Hawaii for vacation, climbed a volcano's lava flow, and sent a picture to Dr. Morris. And what does the doctor say? I mean,
he was amazed about that.
Rogelio attends church every week, and he reads the Bible every day.
This is my favorite thing to do. Read and read and read and read and read.
He comes to me and he says, I just read this article. It was so good. And it's just like the most wonderful thing he's ever read. And he'll do that every day.
And that's not all he does every day.
He likes to go into the computer and he has a list for me in the afternoons when I come home. Guess what I found out today? There is a planet that is made just of diamond. I mean, every day he will tell me new things that I don't know about.
Do you wish you could still drive?
I still drive.
You still drive?
Yep.
You still have a license?
I have my license.
It's obvious that Rogelio loves life. He also loves his family.
I love them so much, and they love me too. So we are very together.
And he loves his country. Do you have a favorite state?
United States.
You like them all?
Them all.
He has a deep appreciation for many of the things that most of us take for granted.
The fresh grass and the drops of rain like a diamond. This is so beautiful to contemplate what the Lord has done in this world.
Rogelio Muñez is too busy enjoying life to worry about death.
This doesn't belong to me. I want to live as long as the Lord wants me to be here, because I am ready to die at any time He asks me, you are over. So I am not afraid of the death.
Until then, he's not counting the days, he's appreciating them, one at a time.
Every day is one day for me. And for me, today is the last day. Not tomorrow, because tomorrow is in the future. So I live according to this day. And tomorrow, when I open my eyes, I try to live again the next day. And that's it. And if you live that way, you don't have to worry for nothing in the world.
One day at a time, appreciating every moment and grateful for the blessing of growing older. Rogelio had an enviable quality of life until the very end, and thanks to that video, he leaves us all with not just something to aspire to, but a roadmap to get there. Sadly, tragically, half of all U.S. adults now have at least one preventable chronic illness that's related to poor dietary habits, and with evidence-based science now supporting food-based prescriptions for health, more doctors are finally embracing the healing powers of food. And it's about time. More than 2,000 years ago, Hippocrates said, "Let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food." So it's not really a new concept, but access to fresh, healthy food is a problem. Most people want to eat better, but many don't have the means to do so. That's why Growing Bolder has made our Boldy Awards a benefit for the Senior Resource Alliance and its Meals on Wheels programs that deliver healthy meals to homebound seniors. But for most of us, as it always does, it comes back to personal responsibility. 40% of U.S. adults are now clinically obese, largely from poor diet choices that lead directly to poor health. We have to realize that companies are spending billions of dollars every year to persuade us to consume food that can lead to chronic illness, premature aging, and an early death. We've become addicted to highly processed, pesticide-sprayed, artificially colored and sweetened, high glycemic, low-fiber, food-like substances that are laden with hormones and tainted with antibiotics. We've got to take more personal responsibility. Who's your nutritionist? Who's your primary care provider? You are, because that's Growing Bolder. We'll see you next time.
Support for Growing Bolder provided by
A financial plan should help grow and protect your money. An annuity can help cover essential expenses in retirement. You can find a financial professional to show you how at protectedincome.org.
Watch previous seasons of Growing Bolder plus bonus stories via our new free streaming app. More information at growingbolder.com/TV. And you can get inspired to plan your what's next when you connect with the Growing Bolder community on Facebook. Show the world you're growing bolder with official Growing Bolder products. Growing Bolder tees and hats are available for $25 each. Custom mugs are $15, and inspiring Tear and Share postcards featuring original artwork and bold messages are $15 plus shipping and handling. All items are available at growingbolder.com/shop.